This episode originally dropped on June 10th, 2021. If you want to catch up on the episodes that we've got out now, we're a season ahead. Just go to patreon.com, look up Unethical Podcast. This episode features Celeste Brown of Unethical Podcast.
Hi, I'm Celeste.
Hi, I'm Richard.
Hey, I'm Christy.
And I'm Tally.
We're the hosts of Unethical Podcast. Every episode, we take a humorous dive into a case study that poses an ethical question, like, should mentally ill murderers ever be released?
No.
We discuss what the outcomes of these cases are and what they should be, with a unique guest host every episode.
Richard needs some more testosterone around here.
Nah, I think it's mostly coming from Celeste.
Girls are mean.
Our podcast is no holds barred, true crime, comedy, adult content, and definitely not for everybody.
But like most people aren't like can handle swear words and stuff, right? Am I right about that?
No.
No.
You can subscribe wherever you eat your podcasts to listen. Follow us on Instagram, where we post our teasers to guess what's coming next. And join us on Facebook to get involved in the conversation. Welcome to Unethical Podcast.
RJ, I hope you spread your wings today and show me what kind of a dastardly comedian you are. I want to see what kind of
Done.
fucked up shit goes in the back of your brain.
All right.
Gentlemen, I've gathered you because you're the best we've got. We've got mysteries that need to be solved, and it's going to take an elite team of private detectives to solve them. RJ, excellent work blowing the lid off Roswell. Rick, we didn't think you could do it, but you solved the Jean Bonnet case. Richard, put some fucking pants on. The Earharts are climbing up my ass, boys. It's time for your pilot project. Find out what happened to Amelia. An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
Amelia Earhart. What do you guys know about Amelia? You guys know anything about Amelia Earhart?
I learned everything I know about Amelia Earhart as soon as I opened this Wikipedia page.
Well, you're already ahead of me.
All right. I can send you the link.
It's a good thing Celeste brought that one to my attention. I got this. Amelia Earhart was born on July 24th, 1937 in Atchison, Kansas.
Yeah, it's Atchison, Kansas.
All right. Her father was a railroad lawyer, and her mother came from an affluent family, but she's basically a homemaker. My first question is, can you guys give me any idea what the fuck a railroad lawyer is? This would be in 1937. What would a railroad lawyer be?
I feel like it's probably one of the guys that was in the room with Daniel Day-Lewis anytime he was making those speeches and There Will Be Blood.
He's the guy being like, don't don't do the one with the giant straw. It's legal.
Yeah. It's probably the one who got him off after murdering Paul Dano.
Yeah. Getsy probably has no idea, or you have an idea. You probably have lawyers.
No, I feel like a railroad lawyer has got to be a guy that's like negotiating with the landowners that they're trying to cut through.
Yeah, okay. I feel like
That would be my guess.
Yeah, I feel like they probably did. I guess that would be 1937. So there'd be lots of, that makes the most sense. Someone would be negotiating with the people, the land buyers. I agree with that.
Just comes in flapping his mutton chops, offering 47 cents an acre.
Yeah. Well,
Just
1937. It's not like,
oh, all right. I was thinking much earlier, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I feel like he offered $0 and then just defended the government in court.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they were just like, of course we can push this family out and make them starve to death. We're rich.
This won't be hard at all. Dirty 30s are among us, boys. Let's just throw some drugs at them. They won't even notice.
Hell yeah.
So her father was an alcoholic, and now I think I know why. Because of this, they were never on financial stable ground. They moved around a lot, and she ended up finishing high school in Chicago. See, I have this date wrong here. Amelia Earhart was not born in 1937. 1897, I think it is. Well, let me look here.
Yes, that is what it says on the Wikipedia page here.
1897. Jesus, no wonder that's so. It's not it's not even in the 1900s yet.
Okay. So I was closer to mutton chops than not.
You're closer to mutton chops than not. I don't know where.
All right.
1937 is a different date. That's when she fucking dies. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So anyways, she ended up finishing high school in Chicago in 1916. She went to Ogon's School in Rydell, Pennsylvania. I hope I got that wrong. I don't even care. Ogon's. But soon dropped out after a trip to her sister's house in Canada for Christmas. They went to Toronto for Christmas. While she was there, she developed an interest in caring for World War I soldiers, wounded World War I soldiers, and she volunteered as a nurse's aide for the Red Cross. She was obsessed with going to the Air Force Base nearby and watching the pilots in action. So you guys really don't know much about Amelia Earhart. Isn't she like a historical icon in your country?
Yeah, we learn about her in school and stuff. I mean, she's just perpetual, like the main takeaway. I mean, honestly, it's the same way I know anything about history is mostly through cartoons.
So you guys have watched the Truman Show, right?
Yes.
They basically make him afraid of getting on boats.
Yeah.
Because his dad was in the accident. Yeah. That's what schools here do with planes so that you stay in your hometown.
Okay. After the war, she went back to college in the pre-med program at Columbia University in New York City. So that one's a little bit more well-known. Although she dropped out again not soon after because her family had been breaking up and getting back together. And her dad was alcoholic. Like I said, they had a lot of turbulent times, but they had actually gotten all back together as a family, mom and dad, all her sisters and stuff. They're all back in one place in California. And she didn't want to ruin the opportunity to be with her family, so she dropped out of school, which doesn't make sense to me, but cool, she did that anyway. She went, you know what, I'm gonna drop fucking Columbia and go to California to hang out with my alcoholic dad.
She was pretty good at dropping out of stuff, school, the sky, you name it. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
I'm actually going to say she was terrible at dropping out of the sky because you're about to find out she did a lot of crazy shit while she was up in the air. She was actually only did that one thing once.
Okay.
It's only once that matters, I guess.
I won't hold it against her.
I feel like in the early 1900s, it was hard to travel, but she was all over the country. So to me, this gives me an idea that she was kind of an explorer to begin with. She was always had that in her. So that's cool. She was always out and about. I like this lady. After reading about her, I never really knew much about her being from Canada, but after reading about her, I kind of find she's cool. She went on her first flight at a Long Beach air show in 1920 with famed World War I pilot Frank Hawks. And after that, it was over. She was obsessed with flying. And when I say she went for a flight, like she literally got in a cockpit and the guy flew around. Like it's not like she flew a plane at that time, but she definitely got obsessed with it after that. It's flying couldn't have been around for too long before that. I should have checked when flying was invented. There wasn't much before that. And her getting to jump in a plane must have been very, what do you call that? Like novel for
fucking
anyone.
Crazy. Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Insane's another way to put it. But still novel, right? It wasn't like now where we're like, ugh, we have to get on a 10-hour flight. Like if anybody would have been happy to get on a plane probably back then, she's fortunate to have actually been doing it, but she was obsessed.
Right.
Hawks was a World War I veteran, flight instructor, and stunt pilot who was part of the team who did the first mid-air refuel. So that's kind of cool. I didn't even know they did that. And I was looking at videos of this. They can refuel a plane while it's flying around. That's insane. They just put a big fucking hook.
That's pretty wild.
It's pretty stupid. So then they were doing that in the 30s, which is cool, right? Like back in those days. So, but although him, even though he was a famous pilot stuff, he also died in a plane crash in 1938. So flying was a lot more dangerous. They didn't have the tools they have now to fly around. Even an experienced guy like that fucking died in a plane crash. She after this, her flight with that guy, she took flying lessons from the only woman flight instructor in California. Her name was Nita Snook. Nita Snook. Sounds like a Jedi name. That's all I'm saying about that. Or like, like some sort of Star Wars character.
Right.
I find it a fun name. I don't know anybody named Nita. Do you? She worked multiple jobs to pay for her flying lessons. She was mostly living on the inheritance from her mother's rich family.
Oh, she was a trust fund baby, was she?
Basically, yes.
They always get to pursue their dreams.
They definitely do. And I keep telling my parents, how come you guys didn't try harder? I could have a trust fund right now and be living not in the fucking middle of nowhere. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I could have died doing the first thing of something. Could have been an explorer.
Yeah, exactly. There's no more exploring. Well,
Yeah, nobody does that anymore, right? Like it's all there.
After the Rockefeller dude went to New Guinea and got eaten, I think exploring was over.
Fuck that, dude. Let's bring it back. Let's just bring back exploring.
Yeah, the only thing left to explore, though, really is like the deepest depths of the ocean, and James Cameron's taking care of that, and space, and Elon Musk is all on top of that. So
fuck that. I'm just gonna like go to Idaho and claim that I explored it.
Just plant a flag.
Just walk through all the fucking cornfields.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like, I found this.
Yeah, I farmed this though. Yeah, but I found it. Like the farmers all mad at you.
You're just one of the native species, Mr. McElroy or whatever your name is.
That's Mrs. Don't assume gender. Anyways,
a hard farm woman.
Yeah. I have a guy at work. He's a 60-year-old man, and he told me today that the only thing good that comes out of Russia is thick. He said thick tractor women. I'm like, what? What does that even mean? So if anybody knows what a thick tractor woman
I have
is,
so many follow-up questions to that.
Me too. I had lots.
I did not think they were the number one selling item on those websites. Be like third or fourth down.
There's a lot of good things that came out of Russia too. Come on. It's just the thick tractor ladies. Okay.
Sure.
All right. A year later, she bought her first plane. It was a Kinner Airster. She nicknamed the yellow plane the Canary. Isn't that cute? Flying around a plane called the Canary. I think that's so cute. In 1922, Earhart set the record for being the first woman to fly solo above 14,000 feet. She took the Canary out for a rip. She went up there. She didn't. I think she bought that plane in 21, and within a year, she's like, "I'm breaking records. I don't give a fuck. It's awesome."
So I don't mean to backtrack a bit.
Yeah, sure.
But I feel like you may have intentionally skipped over something. What I'm reading here is that Miss Anita Snook, who was the woman referenced before for her trainer, right? She in training drove a Curtiss JN4. Which, and I apologize that you guys have to hear this.
I'm okay with it.
But it was nicknamed a Canuck. So
I did not purposely skip that.
They were very prejudiced back then against you folks, and I'm sorry that we've done that to you.
You know what? I think the only time we've ever fought you guys, we beat you. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool if we did enough to you guys. You guys you can call us Canucks every once in a while.
Okay. I don't remember that, so it didn't happen, but whatever.
Hey, man, that's how America works. Just erase the truth and give out propaganda. Good for you guys. Rock on.
Yeah.
If for the listener, he just gave the devil horns to that. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Hail Satan. Okay. By 1923, she had her pilot's license. So she was a fucking badass. She didn't even have a license, and she still flew and tried to break a bunch of records. That's awesome. She just was like, you know what? I don't need you, Nita. Watch what I can do.
So she was a criminal too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 2 clues so far.
Right.
Trust fund.
Yeah.
And a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if they had that many thick standing laws about piloting back then. I don't think now we've bureaucratic.
If they were giving out licenses, there was a fucking law for it.
What are you getting your license for? I don't know, just cuz.
Sure. I don't mean I don't think it's like, did you get a parking ticket? Yes. Does that make you a criminal? No, I don't think it was that severe to not fucking fly around. Like, she bought the plane. They didn't even ask her for an ID when she bought the plane. They're like, here, have a plane. You don't need
But
her
license. her willingness to break the law is indicative of a criminal nature.
Okay. Okay, let's paint her as a criminal.
Listen, I'm
cool
not ever IDing a trust fund, baby. I don't care what I'm selling them. You want to throw in an extra $100,000? Fuck it. You can buy the plane. You want a tank? It's yours.
I don't care if you're 7. Give her, bud. Here's your tank.
I said trust fund baby, all right? I'm not selling to 7-year-olds. 5 and under.
Okay. Inheritance was running out. because they were not very good with the money. Like a plane was expensive to have and house and all that stuff. She ran out of money quite early, and she had to sell the Canary actually in 1924. Flying was not paying her bills. It was just a hobby for her. So for the next couple of years, she did have a day job as a social worker, but during that time, I think that job was just to try and get back up in the air. Okay. I don't think she was really into the whole social work thing. I think it was just money.
Oh, fucking bitch.
Yeah. Well, I guess, I don't know. I'm sure it was like not intentionally like, fuck this social work job. It was more like, I can't wait till I can save enough money to go on another flight. You know what I mean?
But that's just such a callous thing to do, to just casually be a social worker because you'd rather be flying. Like if
you're making it
so
sound like it's
involved.
now. You're making it sound like it's now. It's not like they were giving the women the good jobs back then. They're like, or not that a social worker is a bad job. It's just a woman's job in a historical sense. It's like women are nurses, women are social workers, women are homemakers or whatever.
So wait, what do you think it entailed then? Based on your definition, it sounds like they just threw a stack of blank papers at her just to keep her busy.
No, I can tell you what she did. She was like helping people who were poor. Like she was going to like the soup kitchen, shit like that. She was doing stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was what they would consider woman's work. I'm not even joking. There's so much sexism in this, it's unreal. So no wonder she wanted to fucking fly.
Okay.
By 1927, she did start to get back into the flying. She joined the American Aeronautical Society's Boston chapter. She invested in the Denison Airport in Massachusetts, and she acted as a sales rep for Kinner Airplanes in the Boston area. So she got into flying, or back into flying by trying to sell airplanes because she knew so much about them. She was up and down selling. She invested whatever money she made into an airport, so that's good. And she also joined a bunch of shit. So that's cool. So, and then she even wrote articles promoting flying in the local newspaper. She quickly began to start to get a local celebrity through the newspaper articles. Just because she was an oddity, a woman talking about flying, it doesn't even make sense. And you'll see why I say that in a second. During this time, before television, all that, they had promoters for flights and new and exciting flights, because that's what people needed for entertainment, was some guy to be like, a girl's gonna fly. Let's get it in the newspaper, guys. It's crazy to me. It would be in the newspaper when someone did some sort of feat of flight, like in 1928, in response to the 1927 flight across the Atlantic by Charles Lindbergh. These very same promoters wanted to get a woman to fly across the Atlantic. Okay, and who do you think they picked? Our little celebrity of the day, our spunky little hero, Amelia Earhart. So in April of that year, she got a call from Captain Hilton H. Rayleigh asking if she'd like to fly the Atlantic.
Yes. I fucking love that name.
Hilton H. Rayleigh.
That is such a 30s name. That is so sick.
Hello, sir. I don't even know how to do a 30s fucking gangster. I'm not even going to try. Yeah. So he called her up and he said to see if you'd like to fly the Atlantic. And without a second thought, Amelia said yes. Some people, and this is a hilarious part, when I was reading a bunch of articles on this, some people say she was chosen because of her little bit of celebrity, but she also looked like Charles Lindbergh. So they're like, Lindbergh looked good on the front of the paper, on the newspaper, so Amelia will too. Like, they're definitely going to love her. Look at how she looks. It's great. I find that funny. You look like a man, so you can fly across the Atlantic.
I'm going to look up a picture of Charles Lindbergh right now.
Yeah, do it. Tell me if you think.
Who's that a dig on?
Oh, well, that is a very feminine looking man.
Sure, but I mean, it's if that's the reason you choose for the first woman to go across the Atlantic is because they look like the last one who went across, that's fucked up. That's
we call that market research. I don't know.
Yeah.
They actually do look very similar. What the fuck?
Yeah.
This is a conspiracy in itself.
Okay, yeah. So like maybe we're pulling threads left.
What if
and
the
right
entire
here.
time they were the same person?
Oh, well, that would be some sort of wicked, because Lindbergh has his own conspiracy that goes later on in his life.
You think he would want to be Amelia Earhart after that shit?
Yeah, exactly. He would have went the opposite way.
Yeah, I feel like he got confused and fucked up.
She took a flight to New York City and met the project coordinators, including publisher George Putnam. And did I say she was going to fly solo? Well, if I did, I didn't mean that. She got on a plane named Friendship in Newfoundland, Ontario, or Canada, and landed in Bury, Port Wales as a passenger. Wilmer Stultz and Louise Gordon flew the plane. She just sat there. And the logic of the time was that such a flight was too dangerous for women to conduct herself. So they wanted a woman to be in a plane that went across the Atlantic, not fly a plane. And people ate that shit up because the second she hit the ground, she was an instant international celebrity. Ticker tape parades in the streets of New York City. She even got a trip to the White House to meet then President Calvin Coolidge. The media nicknamed her Lady Lindy. Lindbergh's nickname was Lucky Lind, so it was a derivative of that. She was just the lady version of him. It's great. Women always used to get the short end of the stick back in those days, still do. So I find that hilarious. She didn't have to fly and she became like famous, like legit famous. She wrote a book about this experience called 20 Hours and 40 Minutes. That's how long it took. That's how long she had to sit in
What a shitty title.
Yeah, I know, it's so bad. But hey, man, it sold a lot. It was followed by an across the US lecture tour. So she got to go talk about her experience sitting there watching the men work. You know, you did a great job there, Amelia. You talk about that. Make sure you get that. This book is riveting. You tell me you sat there. Were you comfortable the whole time? Anyways, it drives me crazy, this whole thing. I can't believe people would read the newspapers and be astonished that a woman could do such courageous things. She was so brave for trusting the smart man to bring her over the ocean. After that, she was offered a job as an associate editor at Cosmo magazine. So she got, like I'm saying, super famous. And she had her own fashion line that was hailed as sleek and purposeful, yet feminine. So
Aerodynamic.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they said shit like that. Aerodynamic and fucking, wouldn't you want to thrust through the sky with this lady? Anyways.
Let your vulva soar like Amelia's. But don't let it be sore.
Vulva.
Try these bloomers.
When you said Bulbasaur, it made me think of a weird vagina dinosaur.
Oh, yeah. A pussy Pokemon.
I choose you. Anyways,
not with that voice.
I just want to say this. I'm not diminishing her. I'm diminishing people from that time period. I don't get why people hated women so much back then. It makes no sense. So to her defense on this whole thing, she knew she didn't deserve the acclaim. She felt like she was just baggage. She felt like she was just like baggage, like a sack of potatoes. And then she said, maybe someday I'll try it alone. And this is where it all set it off, because over the next few years, she accomplished many things like flying across North America, entering women's air derbies. And she set another record for world altitude at 18,415 feet. So she went even higher than last time. Putnam, her publicist, that guy she met earlier, and her got romantically involved during this time, and they got married. She kept her last name for her career. And yes, the stereotype of marrying your publicist has been around for that long. So yeah, she did that. So in 1932, her and Putnam decided to organize a solo flights across the Atlantic for Amelia, like she always promised herself she would do. And on the 5th anniversary of Lucky Lynn's flight across the Atlantic, May 20th, 1932, she did just that. She took off from Newfoundland again and landed in a small pasture in Londonderry, Northern Ireland. She had to improvise when she was experiencing mechanical failure along the way, and she realized she wasn't going to make it to Paris like Lindbergh did. So she actually almost crashed earlier, but she landed in a farmer's field in Ireland, which is, she made it. She did it. She was the first woman to go across the Atlantic. So bra fucking vo. She also smashed the record of it. She did it in under 15 hours. So she did 5 hours faster than when the two men were taking care of it before. So good for her on that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just their heavy alcohol bloated bodies weren't weighing it down.
Yeah, exactly. They're probably hammered for sure. They're probably encouraged to drink while flying. Are you crazy? You must be on edge. Absolutely. Here, have a drink.
Yeah, probably the only reason she was able to do this shit is because she was the first sober pilot too.
You almost made me spit take. I was taking a drink when you said that. If I would have covered my fucking mac in coffee right now, I probably would have killed myself.
Is that all it takes to be a pilot? Is to drink heavily? It sounds like you didn't need a fucking license. I mean, hell, I'm in.
A lot of these guys were probably like veterans, right? From World War I. Because flying was very young at this time.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would track.
Yeah. Then she met the new president, which was Herbert Hoover, and he gave her some medals no one really gives a fuck about. I'm not going through them all. But that's the second president she's met in her lifetime so far. And she's in her mid 30s.
Wow.
She wrote another book, enjoyed her now earned fame, and decided to smash some more records. She's like, you know what? I'm breaking records. Let's break some more. In 1935, she flew solo from Hawaii to California, which is actually longer than the flight across the Atlantic. On January 11th, she did that in just under 17 hours, or just over 17 hours, sorry. Later that year, she was the first person to fly solo from LA to Mexico City, so she was killing it. But she had bigger dreams, guys. She wanted to fly around the world. You can't do this solo. You need a navigator. The world is a funky place, especially when you don't have the tools you got now. You need someone to actually watch where you're going. They actually had maps and shit. It wasn't like a computer screen helping you get from point A to point B.
Yeah, that's fucking insane to me that there's no like Google Maps.
Yeah, nothing.
To scope out.
Just a map.
Just to like track that shit.
These people are just
Like,
we're looking at the stars, making guesses.
I just am familiar with cardinal directions. Ugh.
It's a lot of it's a lot of trigonometry and trust in cartographers, because the map that she actually did take with her, the map she took with her was 8 miles off. I mentioned that later on, but it wasn't even.
See, and that's why I always say you never trust a cartographer.
Yeah, they're the worst.
Everyone knows they're all pedophiles.
Are we making that claim today? Are we putting that down on paper? Cartographers
That's
are
just
pedophiles?
yeah. That was the side mystery I got sidetracked with before I was able to do Amelia Earhart research.
Wait, you got sidetracked in pedophiles or cartographers?
Well, one and the same.
I don't know why you distinguish between them.
That's the conclusion I'm drawing. That's maps. It's so secretive. What are you drawing maps to? Why isn't it on the internet? Why can't we know about it? I think we all know.
All right, so you can't fly around the world solo. You need a navigator. So she got a friend of hers named Fred Noonan as her navigator. And on June 1st, 1937, they set off to on the 47,000 kilometer journey. I don't know what that is in miles, guys. I'm Canadian, so it's kilometers. Good, welcome. They departed in Miami, and by June 29th, they had already made various refueling stops before reaching Lae, New Guinea on that day. A couple days later, on July 2nd, they headed for Holland Island, which is about 4,200 kilometers away from the Lae, New Guinea. Holland Island is hard to locate because it's so small, and it was expected to be a hard flight. To help, Amelia actually asked the U.S. to see if they could park some boats nearby as a guide for her. So she got 2 U.S. Coast Guard ships.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, I'm flying. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to find this place. You want to just park a bunch of fucking boats outside so I know which island to pull up at?
Yeah.
Just casually.
Yeah, she was a celebrity. She had a little bit of pull. She met the president at this time, right? She was worldwide well-known name. She's flying around the world. This was big news. And if the U.S. can make themselves look better in any way, I'm sure if they had a ship in the area, they would. Why not? We're around here anyway. And they did, man. They parked one out. They actually did it. I don't know. I couldn't call up the president and be like, hey, man, I want to fly around the world. Can you park a boat for me? But I guess when you got the juice, fucking Amelia does.
That sounds like some Kennedy family bullshit. Like, hey, I don't really want to drive through the traffic. You mind just shutting down the city so I can get to the White House? What the fuck?
Oh, fuck.
Well, they did it anyway.
Hell yeah.
So where was that? She was in radio contact with the U.S. Coast Guard ship, the Itasca. I hope I get all these wrong. Later in the flight, she radioed to the Itasca that she was running out of fuel. And about an hour later, she radioed that we are running north and south. That was the last thing I ever heard from her for the flight. And running north and south, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Now,
yeah, that sounds like that's your problem. Your shit's splitting in two.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, I'm stuck on this fucking ship thing.
Okay,
right. It was a U.S. Coast Guard ship. Where the fuck did it come from? In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, they brought it all the way over?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
This is America, man. Don't they have like bases everywhere around the world?
Not with Coast Guard ships. Why would the U.S. Coast Guard be helping over in the fucking Pacific Ocean? It would be like a naval ship.
Yeah, I always thought they guarded the coast.
I can tell you're American.
This is also 1937. Like, ask your grandpa what they did back then. I don't fucking know.
Pal, you have no idea how old my grandpa is.
He's from the 80s, probably. Okay.
Yeah. Like 65.
Considering I picked you guys up from daycare this morning. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, it was a Coast Guard ship. I don't know, man. Like I said, it was famous ship. Maybe they shipped it. They drove up there to meet her there. Like, maybe they specifically did that to help her out because it was just so famous of a thing, or so, what do you call it? Like, notorious of a thing that was going on at the time. I don't know. They just helped her out, man. They did it.
No, that's good. And then she probably called him up or whatever, and was like, "Hey, can you do this?" And they were like, "Sure, I guess." Why? She's like, "Well, I mean, I'm going off a map, and a cartographer made it." And they were like, "Oh, okay, I hear you. Yeah. We're bringing the ships. Don't worry about it. don't."
Was
don't
there a cartography school that didn't let you in? Like, are we gonna have to worry about some Hitler level event here?
Yeah, are you all soured up because you fucking
Jesus.
flunked out of cartography school?
Look, I did not flunk out. Okay, it was rigged.
I chose to leave. I chose.
Yeah, I couldn't stand what I uncovered there.
And all of a sudden, maps are supposed to be round. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, they're trying to tell me the green part isn't the ocean. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Amelia thought the same thing.
Head up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her last couple. Okay, maybe I should talk about that a little bit more.
The plane going down. You should open with that.
Oh God. Okay, so that last little bit, when she left Laos or whatever to fly there, I guess the Coast Guard had left. I don't understand radio equipment from back then. So they kind of left on one of the frequencies, like the higher frequency radio, and it ran out of batteries. Okay. The fucking Coast Guard people. So she refused to do Morse code and she refused to go in the lower band frequencies. I don't understand why, or she didn't understand too, because that wasn't the plan, but she was trying to get a hold of them for a long time. And the whole time the Ithaca or whatever is trying to contact her, telling her like, go into Morse code, we can read you better. And she wasn't answering. She only answered that one thing. That's why this is so mysterious. She said she was running out of fuel. We can't understand what you're saying, Ithaca or whatever. We don't hear you, but we're running out of fuel. We're running north and south. That's all they really got. And she couldn't really understand them. So it's running north and south. This is where it gets weird for me. And I understand it by like photos and stuff. But running north and south that means they're kind of running on a north and south on the map, but it's not really north and south. They follow because the sun and the earth. Okay, this is going to get real basic, but it has to be explained. The earth goes around the sun. We get this, right? So it's not on a perfect east-west side of the earth. It's kind of on a north or where, depending on what day of the year or where you're at. So the sun, when it comes around, when it's twisting and the fucking sun's starting to like poke its head around parts of the earth, it makes a line where the shadowy side of the earth is and the bright side of the earth. When she was saying she was running up and down, they were looking at like where the shadow divides or the light divides the shadow between night and day. And they could figure out where they were on a map because of that. And they gave like specific coordinates and they were trying to say, hey, I don't know where the fuck you guys are, but we're running along the line that the sun, because it was like at 7 a.m. or whatever. So look for us there.
So there's more north or south.
It's northeast, southwest. Like it's not fully north.
Right. So when she said we're running north and south, she didn't really know which, and it was like an and or.
She knew she was running. Yes, it's along that line. You guys have to look along this north-south line. So,
gotcha.
By the way, she was saying like ping her location. She was saying a whole bunch of shit that they couldn't respond to her for.
Ping her location. Did they do it? Did she get a message on her iPhone?
No.
Was I the only one that was imagining Richard's head was the earth and like his hand was like the line as he was describing it? Because all I've been thinking.
There you go. We can see it right there. Look, the line, the north-south line. All right.
Oh damn. So are we ready to theorize? Because I think I got this one.
Well, I'm going to go through all the theories and you guys can tell me which one. There's 5 of them on this one.
Please.
All right. So she went down there. All right. So what happened? There's 5 major theories. So theory 1's crash and sink. Okay. The plane's believed to have gone down 160 kilometers from Howland Island, the tiny island that was their destination. Franklin D. Roosevelt, who is now the president, or at that time, put on a massive 2-week search for Earhart and Noonan, but by July 19th, 1937, the search was called off. So 2 weeks they searched, they spent $2 million of that time money to go.
Did they send more Coast Guard ships out there or just use the ones they already had?
After the 2 weeks, they're declared both lost at sea. Several expeditions have been sent to this area with no avail up until recently even. So they've gone in 2002, 2006, and 2017, Nauticos. It's a deep sea exploration company, has searched the ocean near where they were said to have went down. No elytra, that was the plane. No plane found. They dragged the ocean. They've done high-tech sonar, deep sea robots, and they've went down to the bottom of the ocean. Nothing, okay, around that area. They can't find jack squat. Danforth Pewter CEO Brian Knepper and Amelia's great nephew. So this is Amelia's family that's still alive to this day. He was born a couple years after the disappearance. He says that he and his family believe that it was just crash and burn. So that's where they are with the theory. Okay, so that's theory one.
And has anyone called in James Cameron to check it out? Because I know he's in the process of.
We're about to get to that.
Oh shit! I was joking, but now I'm interested.
Yeah, no, not exactly James Cameron, but we'll see. So theory number 2 is Gardner Island castaways. So there's an island that's close by to the Holland Island. The theory is that one or both of Noonan and Earhart survived as castaways on that other secondary island called Gardner Island. It's 350 miles away from their destination. I did that for you guys. The theory goes that that they got lost and crashed near the island after losing fuel. The island was uninhabited at the time, but yet during expeditions to the islands over the years afterwards, there's been many artifacts and anecdotal evidence that people have survived there. In 1940, 3 years after the expedition, an expedition to the island found 13 human bones. Physician mislabeled them as male bones. After re-examining the bones the years later with better forensic technology and knowledge of humans has been expanding, this time comparing them to the size of Earhart, they were determined to have been more likely women's bones. Some researchers say the bones were Earhart's bones. They're 100% on it, or at least more likely to have been. But big surprise, the bones have gone missing, so no further testing can be done, minus just using medical records. So they can't do the DNA testing or fuck all. Amelia, or the bones they found in 1940 are gone. They don't know where they went. So that's fun.
All right.
On the island, they also found a piece of plexiglass that looks like it could have belonged to the plane that they were flying. It's the same size, but it's kind of damaged and stuff, so they can't be 100% sure. A woman's shoe from the 30s, a cosmetic jar from the 30s, some improvised tools were also found. So they found some stuff on an uninhabited island from the same time period.
Ain't Amelia Earhart. There's no way that lady wore makeup. I have seen the pictures. You've seen the same ones I have.
They sent cadaver dogs out to the island in 2018, but the cadaver dogs didn't find any evidence of human remains at all. And I looked this up. I'm like, can dogs even find 80-year-old bones? They fucking can. That's crazy to me. They can, if they can find anything. But they found no evidence at all. And if there was only 13 human bones found, that would leave another 193 to find, right? Because there's 206 bones in the human body. So if the dogs were going to find anything, they should have. As recently as 2019, Robert Ballard, the ocean explorer known for locating the wreck of the Titanic, led the team to find Earhart's plane. Biggest theory with this,
wow.
So they brought the guy who found the Titanic's wreck to go. So it's not James Cameron.
I mean, not for nothing, but Titanic was probably a smidge larger than Amelia Earhart's plane.
Oh,
so.
for sure. But this was 2 years ago. Yeah. It's not like they had tech, right?
The Titanic didn't get the Coast Guard to park by an island or an iceberg for them so that they didn't hit it.
Yeah,
that's true too.
Wait, okay. What 13 bones were they? Like all from one part of the body, or like a mixture?
No, there. I could tell you. I had them written down. I should have kept it.
Well, like, was it like somebody lost a fucking leg or something? And it's like
they were all her fingers, all 13 of her fingers.
One was a finger for sure. They had like a femur. They had a bunch of bones. They had like big bones too. They didn't have skull or anything. They didn't have like pelvis, anything big. They had lots of bones. So they had 13. I could pull it up. I just got to pull it. Just give me a second. I was reading them off when I was reading this out loud. I'm like, this is just me reading off a list of bones. This is stupid. So I was just like, I'll just say 13 bones. But no, obviously, since I erased it, fuckhead wants to know.
And I need to know. I need to know what bones. Like, Was it like you just go down to your local bone shop and you just, grab a handful of whatever and you just throw them out there? Or is it like, she lost an arm and some of her fingers?
Oh God, you're making me lose my spot. I'm not telling you what bones. They're fucking 13 bones. I'll tell you after. I'll look them up after. You need to know what bones specifically. They lost the bones anyway.
I'll find it myself. I'm quite good at finding bones online.
Thank you. They're losing my.
It's his hobby. He's super into boning, man.
I'm gonna lose my goddamn place. The biggest problem with this theory is that Navy pilots searched this location in 1937 during that 2-week search, and they found nothing. So figure if they were looking the first 2 weeks and they were actually stranded on an island, you would have actually noticed the plane or something to that extent when you're flying low over top of these islands. So that's why most people discount it as a theory. Plus, the cadaver dogs went, and plus the guy now. So there's a lot. It could be. It could be that one. Who knows? It could be that they were castaways. It seems like fun. There's no water there. There's no animals, so they would have died quite quickly from not having anything to drink. They would have to rely on fucking rainwater and shit. So it's kind of a sad way to die. I hope it's not that one. They just die of fucking thirst.
Yeah, that would be funny with a Coast Guard boat like on the other side of the island.
It's just on the other side.
One of the bones was a part of the skull, so whoever this was definitely dead. It wasn't just like you lost some bones. In case any of the listeners were confused as to whether it was someone's dead remains or someone just lost some bones on this island, they were definitely dead.
Well, unless they were getting some sort of like brain surgery and the person didn't replace the piece of brain and they just kept it. Some weird doctor who like chunks of skull.
Damn.
Or
if they had to eat themselves to survive, that would be fucking metal.
They like cut off a finger, like, I'm not doing it, Noonan. I'm gonna eat your fucking pinky finger. Oh God. It's rough. I can't imagine dying on an island like that. Well, so we guys got the 2 theories so far. We're gonna discuss these after when I go through them all. So crash and burn.
Okay.
Castaways.
Right.
Crash and burn castaways. Okay. Third major theory is that they were Japanese prisoners. Some people say that Earhart and Noonan were captured and executed by the Japanese, or executed or captured, one of the two, or captured. In 2017, investigators found a photo in the National Archives that looks like it depicts Earhart and Noonan days after the crash in Japanese custody. If you look up the photo, it does look like Amelia Earhart. It does look like some other guy is like standing there. It doesn't necessarily need to be Noonan, but she in the photo is sitting down and kind of looking back, and she has kind of the same haircut. She looks disheveled. She's definitely not a Japanese person. So it could be, it looks like her. It could be. Also, they also say it was believed that she may have been Tokyo Rose. Tokyo Rose was an English-speaking female broadcaster who transmitted messages to the Allies during World War II. This theory was popular for a while until her husband listened to the recordings and said, "That's not my wife." So they assumed Amelia Earhart was caught by the Japanese and she was like sending help to the Allies in the 40s, which is kind of fun. That's a fun one.
This woman spent a good chunk of her life just flying around the world, and this guy's like, "Yeah, I know exactly what my wife sounds like. I talk to her every day."
Yeah, that was one of the notes I wanted to drop. I've all the people in this story I trust the least. It's George Putnam.
Yeah, why?
I don't know, man. He's just got like this height to him that's just very untrustworthy. You see the Wikipedia photo for him?
Oh yeah, he's one of those like publicist guys that are just trying to make money off people. So he probably married her just to get money. Is that what you're trying to tell me right now? Is that why you don't trust him?
I think so. I like even in their photo together, he just looks like he's like criticizing her or something. Like it's very.
I bet you if you pull up any photo of any man looking to a woman in the 1930s, it's gonna look like he's judging her. Like, why are you not? Unless it's like serving dinner, then they're like, "Thanks, honey."
That's fair.
Are George Putnam and Stephen Colbert related? Because they look exactly alike.
That's true. I didn't even notice that when I was thinking about.
Maybe they're the same person. We should give our good friend Mr. Colbert a ring. See what he knows about this. We all have his personal cell phone number, right?
I do, for sure.
Okay,
for sure.
Right.
He keeps asking me to go on the show. I'm like, nah, man, you're fucking over. You know,
all right.
I don't want old media. Get the fuck out of here.
Perfect. So we'll just wait for the show to end, and then we'll definitely call him.
Yeah, I'll give him a ring ding.
Cool.
Yeah. Also, Japanese officials deny ever having Earhart in custody now that it's the 2020s. Like they say, we never actually had it. But this is late 30s Japan. They still had an emperor. So
I mean, if you drop 2 nuclear bombs on me, I probably would be like, us? No, we never would do anything like that. That, of course not. Do you want a PlayStation?
I mean, the nuclear bombs came very much after Amelia Earhart's disappearance, right?
Sure, but when
A couple of years.
did they deny it immediately?
No, they didn't. They never noticed this until 2017. This is a new theory that they found that
Okay.
photo and went, "Hey, that looks like Amelia Earhart."
Well, you can't cop to it now. I mean, we basically gave Japan freedom. They're fucked if they come back. If we find out our prized possession.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're not gonna
Yeah, I
like
agree.
they're not gonna dime themselves out.
I agree. This could totally be the one because why would Japan? What's the benefit for them to say we stole your fucking the best person you had at the time, like the most famous celebrity you had at the time?
The
What's
benefit,
to them saying, "Yeah, we did that."
they want to find out. We'll show them.
So there's no plus for them to say that. So yeah, and plus, like I said, they had an emperor. How well did they even keep files in the 30s in Japan? Like, if they even knew that they had, or how archived is your shit? You got nuked.
Yeah. Anyways,
fun.
yeah, they really sucked back then. So
Yeah. Japanese people were so crazy that they took a nuke and said, "We're not giving up." And then they took the second nuke and went, "You know what? We better give up."
yeah,
That's crazy. That's insane to me. You know what I mean? Like, took the second one for them
Oh,
to
yeah.
go like, "Whoa."
Yeah, but I feel like pre-nuke, you have Amelia as a negotiation chip, and they never use that.
Yeah.
That's on them.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair enough.
But here comes the next theory then. Let's get into that then. Theory 4, American spy theory. So Noonan and Earhart were spies for Roosevelt, and this was a way to fake their death. That's one of the big theories. That's why they sent out the ships. That's why they did all the help for her, because she was a spy. All right.
Okay.
They lived out the rest of their lives in the U.S. under assumed names. That's what the big theory is. So author W.C. Jameson, in his book, Amelia Earhart, Beyond the Grave, said that he interviewed the nephew of a high-ranking military official, and his informant said that it was common knowledge in the high-ranking intelligence community that Earhart was involved in an intelligence gathering operation. So I find this hilarious that, like, I interviewed my uncle's brother's sister's military friend who's it's pretty long down the line to put in a book. Like, if you're trying to be a credible source, you got to go get a anyways. But he's saying that this was common knowledge within the intelligence community that she was actually there. So Joseph Gervais, author of Amelia Lives from the 70s, claims that not only was she captured by the Japanese after the crash, but after World War II, she was repatriated to the US under an assumed name. She was supposedly named Irene Bolam, the banker. So she was a banker. Irene was also a female pilot in the 40s and in the 30s and 40s, and claimed that she knew Earhart. Biggest problem with this theory is two things. First, she was a woman in the 1940s. Remember, she became famous for taking a plane trip across the Pacific, not flying a plane. I don't think the U.S. was ready for a female spy. You know, I think that they were maybe not someone as such high profile as Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, I never got that like trope where it's like the famous person is secretly a spy. Like, that's the most like inconvenient fucking shit in the world. Like, that whole hiding in plain sight is bullshit.
It's not easy to cover up something like that. But
No.
what were you gonna say, Getz?
I'm okay. So first off, women were spies. I mean, Virginia Hall is a very famous spy.
Sure.
Okay,
she was,
that's just my.
She was in the
opinion.
early CIA, which was the OSS back in the day. So that was in like
But she
1940s.
was famous for being a spy then, right? Like, after the fact.
She wasn't a spy at first. She was a secretary turned spy.
Okay, but she wasn't like a fucking movie star that like went on secret missions.
No, but here's what I will say. So having a little bit of understanding of the world, it wouldn't surprise me.
All
if they
right.
took-
Wow. Fuck you.
That's implication that we don't have any understanding. Sorry.
No, I meant
please
I
tell
didn't mean
me,
it.
please
I
tell
meant
me how the world
into like the I meant into like the government world. My guess is it had nothing to do with the high profile of who she was and everything that she had, some sort of cover for action to fly. So like she had a reason to be flying around the world, right? She was this famous person. My guess is she was not a spy from the jump, but they may have put some sort of things onto her plane like as she was flying around to like capture imagery or things like that, which would make sense. I mean, Lockheed Martin was the one that, right? Maybe it was just Lockheed at the time, designed her airplane for this trip. They added extra tanks for mileage. They could have added other things to it. So it really wouldn't surprise me if that's why this all makes sense, right? Why would the Japanese go after her? Why would they capture her? Why would they imprison her? I think it all could possibly point to that.
Okay, we'll go. I got more on this about the theory here, and we can get into it. Honestly, I want this one to be the most true one, but we'll get into it more. Second, Irene Bolam, the real Irene, denies being Earhart. So that's the other problem with this theory. She actually was pissed. She sued the publisher of the book for $1.5 million in the 70s. The book was pulled and she received an out-of-court settlement. So there was something to it. Bolam,
I mean, do we have a picture of this other woman? Does she look like Charles Lindbergh?
She looks like fucking Amelia. It's fucking crazy, actually. Find her, you'll see. Bolam and Earhart also had mutual friends who claimed to have known them both because she was also a pilot during that time. So there's a lot of problems with that. But on Bolam's death, Gervais, the author guy, requested to take fingerprints and photos of Bolam, but was denied, fueling theories to come out again. So she wasn't even allowed to fingerprint this lady just to shut him the fuck up. So that all that's going to do is make the conspiracy theorists go even crazier, right? After I looked at Irene, I see why people thought it. She looks like Amelia, but in 2006, criminal forensic expert examined the pictures of both Bolam and Earhart and noted enough differences between the two to conclude that they were different people.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Who hired the forensic photographer? Was it the government to cover up?
I don't know, but I'm a little annoyed that everyone's so focused on Amelia and everyone's just like, who the fuck was Fred? Like, no one's looking at for Fred's alter ego out there, you know?
Yeah, no, Fred. I got into a little bit with Fred. Fred was a drunk actually, and he was. One of the theories that he was hammered, and that's why he fucked up their direction. But I didn't get into it because it didn't have lots. It only had like a little bit of meat on the bone on that. But I find that hilarious too. That Fred was just drunk.
I think it's more likely that he was a drunk, but he was so nervous for this flight, this worldwide flight, that he didn't drink, and it fucked him up. Because how are you going to find the stars in the sky that you need if you're not drunk? It's like, yeah, that looks right. You need the confidence to be drunk to be like, yeah, I'll follow that star all the way there.
Amelia's like, wow, a lot of turbulence. And he's like, yeah, it's the turbulence.
Okay, what else they got here? No evidence has ever been found that either in Roosevelt's papers or any intelligence files from World War II that she was a spy. So people have gone through this shit, but I mean, like I said, how much shit was just destroyed? Who the fuck knows? There's been four books asserting this theory. So it's very compelling for people who want to believe that theory. There's enough to one book's one thing, two books maybe, but like four starts to get like, is this true? It's kind of fun. And then the last theory, which is a fun one, and I want to believe that it's aliens. The most crazy fucking assholes on the corner of the internet want to tell us it's aliens. It's my favorite. Aliens will always be my favorite theory, guys. I'm sorry, I might not be helpful in this. If it's ever aliens comes up as the theory, I'm probably gonna end up picking that one because it's the most fun.
Yeah. Where'd she hit a fucking weather balloon?
Yeah. Weather balloons don't exist. They're the aliens themselves. We already went over this.
Okay, actually, back to my she could have been a fucking spy thing.
Yeah.
You know how you were talking about the radio thing? She refused to go on lower bands. What if that caused interference between some signals they were collecting, like some sort of radio signal gathering?
It's perfect. It's
telling
great.
you, it all fucking makes sense now.
Let me go rip through aliens and we'll talk about it. I'm down. Fucking right. Aliens doesn't have much. They just say in that area of the Pacific where Earhart Noonan went down, it's usually a hotbed for alien activity. Even to this day, it's believed that she was captured by aliens and taken off this planet during an abduction. There's also ones that say that she's living in the Middle Earth, the Hollow Earth. She was sucked down there and she's eternally her age in the middle of the Earth, charming the pants off of Hollow Earth aliens right now.
Yeah, but I mean, King Kong just went back down there. Like they would have found her.
Yeah, right.
It's not aliens, but I mean, this is a big theory. It's like the people with the birds aren't real shit. It's funny to say, and people want to.
You fucking say that, and that's how you wind up with all these sincere flat earthers. Okay,
are you coming at my people? Birds are not real.
I knew I could trigger you with that.
Jeez. I'm out of beer, so like
you're out of beer right now. Are you okay? Are you about to sober explain something to me?
I know. I wasn't sure how much longer this was going to take, so
Okay, well, let's just talk about what theories we have. We have all 5. Can we got them? Do you guys write them down? Are we detecting, boys? Huh? Have we been detecting?
I formulated my own.
I wrote down the correct one.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go. I want to hear everybody's. Who wants to start?
Oh, all right, I'll go. So
Okay.
just following the breadcrumbs that have been left behind. So trust fund baby money, okay. Criminal extraordinaire, right? We all agreed that,
Okay.
or at least
Okay.
comfortable with criminal activity, okay.
Okay.
And then Rick pulled the similarities between her and Richard, or no, what the fuck's his name, Charles Lindbergh, and how they could have swapped. I think that's what happened. Okay. I think they traded places at some point.
All right.
Okay. Because Charles Lindbergh, all right, Anne Morrow is his wife. She wanted him to fuck out because he ate their baby or something. And
Okay.
all right. And George Putnam, he always more than looking like he's criticizing her, he looks stressed. Okay. So I don't think he loves her. I think he's under her thumb. So she got him to help her set all this up. Okay. So Charles Lindbergh, they just slapped a wig and fake tits on him and threw him in that plane with Fred. Fred, I don't know what his deal was. Maybe he was like a criminal or something, and they just got him to off himself in exchange for money for his family or something. Okay. Amelia falls in love with Anne Morrow. Okay.
Okay.
And then she transitions, which tracks. Okay. Transatlantic flight. It's always been there for her. She's always wanted this. You know what I mean? So in perpetuity until her death.
She's not going to be public about that.
Well, yeah, she
Yeah,
could.
I
I mean,
get
not in that time. Yeah. I mean,
She would have been too embarrassed.
right.
She would
Yeah.
have needed to do this. I'm going to see where you're going with this. I like
Right.
it.
So between her money and, and Charles Lindbergh's fortune, I mean, it totally lines up for her to just have an awesome, happy, fake penis sex life with Anne Morrow and then die in 1972, like Charles Lindbergh supposedly did.
So where did Charles Lindbergh go during this swap?
He was tied up and in the plane. So he was Amelia in the plane. Any radio contact, it was all pre-recorded.
Okay, so they swapped before the flight. Like they swapped like years before, so she could have like a scissor fucking fest with Charles Lindbergh's wife.
I bet they had something of an affair prior. I would argue. Sure.
This is theory number 6. I didn't even see this coming. This is coming in from left field, guys. Theory number 6, the transatlantic.
Yeah, the transatlantic theory.
You know what? You should start like a weird Reddit forum on this. People will lob on and they'll start fucking adding on
yeah,
to it.
dude, I'm firmly kidding, but that's just how this shit starts too. I mean,
no, I know.
an ironic joke, and then everyone's like, no, but what if?
Yeah. So I hope that spreads. You know what? I'm not convinced yet. I don't know if we should go back to Celeste with this answer yet, but I mean, it's a good theory. We got to go back to Celeste, a unified front. So I want to see what Getsy boy has to say here.
We just need to make people believe that we believe we solved it. All
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's the important part.
Exactly. So let's see what unified front. Let's see what we can get from Getz. Maybe he can pull us into a unified front on how this thing should be solved.
Yeah, so I've been trying to do research on Japanese signal intelligence from the 1930s here in the 2 minutes while he's been talking about transatlantic flights.
Okay. All right.
And
A little more fact-based.
I'm sure you're all surprised. I haven't found much in my light Googling.
They didn't keep any files of like who they captured during the war, but they kept the fucking obscure like signals that they were sending to the skies in the 30s. I'm sure that's around.
That being said,
email the emperor.
I am currently reading through a PDF that is from January 1945. Was declassified, so it was at least, I don't know if it was written on January 1945 or just declassified in January 1945, but it was titled Japanese Radio Communications and Radio Intelligence. I don't know what this stands for, but it says CINCPOA. It must be, I don't know, some branch.
Call in nautical.
It was probably a branch of the Navy.
I believe in you. You were almost
that
there.
no longer that no longer exists.
He didn't give me the rest of it.
But essentially, it's a really long PDF, so I'm not reading the whole thing. But I scrolled down a little bit, and some of the images, which were included are two almost like cell tower looking structures spaced about 500 feet apart. And it says that they support low frequency antenna systems. So that already tells me that at least prior to 1945, that if the Navy collected this as imagery intelligence, that some sort of Japanese radio signals were being broadcasted on the island. So that goes back to where you specifically said Amelia, for some reason, didn't want to switch to low frequency bands. If I had to guess, because I mean, Lockheed is a huge defense contractor in the United States, that they were likely contracting with the military. They hooked some things onto that plane. She was probably a witting accomplice. They said, don't switch down to these because it won't actually work, because we just hot swapped it out with our shit to just collect. She flew where she was supposed to fly. That's how she got the support from the government. Because I don't care who the fuck you're friends with. I don't just say, hey, I might not find this one small island. You want to just put some boats out there? Because if I'm the president of the United States, I'll go back and I'll say, no, you want to just fly to a different fucking island? Like, that would be my response. I'm not going to move boats for you. So that's why I think it goes into the theory of,
You know what? Before you continue, just gonna tell you this. I feel like you're gonna be president one day, and you're gonna have to say that to someone. Just keep going.
And it feels that way. This is a lot of homework. This sounds like I'm in now. Like
okay.
Yeah, I'm not letting go of bottom surgery, Amelia, but I'm in.
Well, we'll get there. Well, and then so there's two things that I'm unsure of. I don't know if, or do we want to say that the planes were shot down? Now, I don't also know the technology that existed back in 1937 to shoot down a plane, but I imagine that it did, or that it just went down on its own. If I had to guess, they took that plane down on purpose, and the Japanese went and recovered her, and boom, that was that. And that's where my theory is. And I will probably spend tomorrow researching Japanese signals intelligence from the 1930s very heavily.
Yeah. Maybe they weren't trying to like shoot her down though. Maybe that's just how they thought planes land. And they were trying to help. Right?
The Japanese at the time. Okay, what I'm gonna say about this. Boys, I'm gonna start this off like this. RJ, you fucking innovator, bro. You fucking thought of something couldn't even thought of. Nobody even thought of this yet. You're a innovator, and I like that about you. Getz, you're the brains of the operation. I didn't want to say it earlier, but you definitely did that. You can read better than most of us. You probably know how to pronounce all those names I fucked up. I'm cool with that. But what I'm gonna say is Occam's razor, boys. I honestly think you just fuck it. They just crashed like jackasses. That's where I'm at with, I think, but since this is where I was at with the starting, I think they just crashed and they died. But Getz actually puts a bunch of good spins on the spy theory, and maybe just to like be being serious for a second here. Maybe she didn't. Did you say that she knew that she was a willing, or she was not a willing on this?
I would say that she was a willing. I would think it would be pretty dumb of anyone to put something on her plane without telling her first, because if she was in a situation where it was, where someone was looking at her plane, or she flew into a foreign country and someone was snooping, it would be a good idea to tell the American citizen, hey, we have something on your plane. You're going to want to make sure that people aren't snooping around your radio.
And I feel like you're probably right, because what I'm thinking now that you've actually said this to me, is that she was a very goal-driven woman, correct? Can you guys agree with me from that story I just told you? So she really wanted to fly around the world. And I don't think anyone was going to support a woman doing this without having Noonan, who was probably actually the spy in this whole thing, being like, I'm coming with you. I'm bringing my shit and we'll help you get around. We'll do this.
Oh, like her handler.
He's basically the guy who was watching her to make sure she got to get the famous part. Everyone would be watching her doing that. And she would just went like, I guess, why not? I get to get the thing. And then once I get back to America, I'm set for life. I already was probably set for life, but now I'm done. I'm over it. I don't have to, I flew around the world. I did the thing. Otherwise I wasn't going to be able to do this. So I think you're right. I think with her brain, with the way she wanted to be the best and the first at all the stuff, she probably looked at this like the lesser of two evils. I'm helping my country. She probably went, I'm helping my country first of all, and then I get a way to do this. All I have to do is bring Fred with me, because I guarantee she probably could have or wanted to do it by herself instead of have a man with her, because that would have, in her mind, probably diminished what she did because a man was there at the time. Because she already said that a bunch of times when she took the flight from Newfoundland to Scotland or Ireland the first time, or whatever, when she flew with the guys, when she just sat in there, she said, I didn't do it. It was all, everyone just thinks about the men. I just sat there and did jack squat. Right. So she's I'm going to go with, she was probably a fucking spy. I'm down now. I'm down with that. I'm going to
say Rick will need to be the one to say it though, because that was a lot of words with very little being said. So spy theory is good. Let him say it. Otherwise you're going to start sweating. I'm going to start talking about post-op sex changes. So let's let him present it to Celeste.
Yeah, sure.
I vote that.
Yeah, no, we're not going to. No, for sure. We're not going to fucking put me or you to talk to Celeste. She's going to yell at us.
I wish I would have done my homework more on Japanese 1930s radio communications, but
fuck
unfortunately,
that. You got to wing all these now. That was too good. That's impressive.
I actually didn't look up any of this prior to starting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Should we call Celeste or what? Should we get her on the? All right.
Banana phone.
All right, Celeste, we figured it out.
Great.
Amelia Earhart was a spy for the Americans. She was spying on the Japanese. That's why she was flying around the world. They replaced part of her. I'm not doing that. I forgot. She was spying for the Americans. She was spying on the Japanese, and she crashed in the ocean. And they took her captive, took her plane. They probably executed her. We're not sure where her body ended up, but she was with the Japanese until her death. That is what happened. We know it for a fact. It's not even debatable anymore. And I hope some sort of historical society gets onto this podcast and we can put this bitch to bed.
Shut up, Richard.
All right.
Richard, shut up. Which one of you is responsible for this? Because I know it wasn't him.
It was Gats over there with a good amount of help from me.
Good job. That's fucking stupid. I'm gonna tell them she crashed. Good job.
That right there is proof that it was a cover-up.
I have some interesting alternate theories if you ever want to circle back.
I'm flattered, but I'm married to the job.
I was going to talk about sex change surgery, but all right.
Again, flattered. Flattered that you think I have the structure to pull that off, but I'm married. I'm married to my genitals. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Your genitals are your job.
I just watched Private Dicks and I think RJ is the funniest.
What? Come on. Please go rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else they take reviews. This episode was from last season. If you want to catch their current season's episodes as they're being dropped, please go to our mother podcast Patreon. Just go to patreon.com and search up Unethical Podcast. There's a full 16-episode season, more of Private Dicks, uncut videos of our discussions, and many more things that are getting added all the time. Unethical Podcast has all their stuff there too, so go listen to that. And if you're already a patron, fuck yeah, you're the best.